There's been a lot of buzzing going around as of late on the internet about, the rumors concerning the potential release of a Resident Evil 3 remake. And that's something that, on one hand, seems really cool in theory, but it makes sense for Capcom to do it, but it's uncertain whether or not it's going to happen because Capcom has not confirmed that yet. And not only that, we just got to see Resident Evil 2 remake released back in January. So as far as Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is concerned, getting an actual remake of that game would be pretty cool. And for those who don't know, the game originally came out on the PS1 back in September of 1999. So it's been almost 20 years since that game was released. And ever since then, the game has been re-released for the Sega Dreamcast back in 2000. And also came out for Nintendo GameCube back in the early 2000s. I believe it was '03. And basically, the remake for the GameCube wasn't really well received because the graphics and the visuals for the GameCube version was not on par with what people expected, or it was not, it was not of GameCube standards because Resident Evil 0 looked better than that. I mean, it looked good on the Sega Dreamcast, but that's only because the Sega Dreamcast came out in 2000. It came out, before GameCube, so it was good for its time when it came out back in 2000. But a lot of people would love to see another remake of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Even though Resident Evil 3 Nemesis was not, quite as popular as Resident Evil 2, depending on who you ask, it was still a pretty solid entry in the series. People loved playing as Jill Valentine, and we got to see the introduction of Nemesis as, one of the main villains of the entire series. And basically, I believe since its release, it managed to sell over at least 3 million copies worldwide, and that's pretty huge. But as far as games or survival horror games that are long overdue for a remake, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is definitely one that's on top of the list. And again, Capcom has yet to confirm whether or not we are going to get to see a Resident Evil 3 remake. And if we do, I wouldn't be surprised if we got to see it in 2020, because back when Resident Evil 2 remake was announced in, I believe it was 2018, we didn't get to see it until a couple of months ago in January. So if Capcom does basically announce a Resident Evil 3 remake sometime in 2019, there's a good chance that we might not see it until 2020. But until then, we're waiting for Capcom to confirm whether or not these rumors are true, whether or not we are actually going to see a Resident Evil 3 remake sometime in the near future.